What's going on, everybody? So today I want to go over the best leveling builds for all classes. Now, these aren't going to be set in stone for every playstyle. There are oftentimes a few points that you can modify, but I don't want to spend a ton of time on this video. I want to do in each build in a couple minutes here. So let's not waste any time and dive into the Barbarian first off. This is by far the class I had honestly the most fun with because of how silly the build is. We're going to start off with our basic. We're going to go for Flay, Enhanced Flay, and Battle Flay. This is going to give our increased bleeding damage. We're only going to put 3 points into Flay. By the way, you're going to want to unlock these future abilities as soon as possible. So just put enough points into to reach the next area to pick up your next skill, except for this core skill, which you're going to want to max out as soon as possible. So 3 points into Flay, Enhanced Flay, Battle Flay. Then we drop down to Rend. Max this out. Rend is going to be massive damage for bleeding, Enhanced Rend, and then Furious Rend. This is going to allow us to spam out our Rends and do massive bleed damage. And here's where it gets interesting because the Barbarian is so much different than any other class in that you don't even care about the abilities, you only care about Thorns. So as soon as you unlock the defensive ability, immediately go into triple Thorns outburst here, and then follow that up with 3 points in Tough as Nails. This is going to give you massive amounts of thorns, so you just kill everything around you. After you've picked up a massive amount of thorns, then you're going to head over into Challenging Shout, which is right next to it, this one right here, and you're going to pick up Enhanced Challenging Shout and Strategic Challenging Shout, which is going to give you essentially more thorns for your build. And then we come up here to gain 15% additional max life. Why? Because that's going to give us more thorns and really cap us out. Then we skip literally both this skill tree and almost this skill tree as well. I put 1 point into Steel Grasp. You do not have to do this at all, because this just helps you pull enemies towards you, but you could literally run the build with 3 abilities plus the ultimate, which is going to be Call of the Ancients, and that's going to be your Barbarian build. It's really simplistic compared to any other build because you literally only need 4 skills, right? Your basic core, and then the Challenging Shout, and then you come down here and get your ultimate. You don't have to pick up Steel Grasp. You can make some minor modifications. You don't even have to take the maximum life up here, because you can get some more abilities if you want a little bit more excitement in your build. But Outburst and Toughest Nails, the Thorns, is just going to annihilate everything. You don't need to worry about anything else. Super fun, super lazy, and super easy build. The second build I have is for the Rogue, right? So this is going to be a much higher skill cap build. Obviously, when you're considering Barb, which is just walk around, kill things that hit you, that's very easy. But the Rogue here, we're going to be going for a Twisting Blades melee based Rogue build with Blade Shift. This is going to give you a little bit of extra movement speed and then a little bit of extra tankiness. Tankiness is actually quite nice, as well as just giving you the ability to move freely through enemies with the Blade Shift. And then we have Twisting Blades as our core ability here. What this does, when you impale someone, you basically can run past them and then the blade's going to come back to you. So what you do is you hit them, run through the group of enemies. You can hit multiple enemies, like 2-3 enemies, and then run past everyone, or Shadow Step, which we'll see in a bit, and then it'll kill the whole wave, which is really interesting. Enhanced Twisted Blade, increasing damage when it's returning, and then Advanced Twisting Blade. This is going to reduce our cooldowns per enemy pass through of our Twisted Blades, which gives us permanent mobility. Again, this is where the skill mechanic comes in, because if you're not good at going ahead and making sure these blades pass through enemies and resetting your cooldowns, you're going to get not as much effectiveness out of this build. Here we go. We have Shadow Step and Dash. Dash is just a straight up dash. Shadow Step, you have to target someone, but then we're also going to run an Enhanced Shadow Step for extra crit strike and cooldown reduction when it hits someone that we haven't hit with Shadow Step before. Again, this is all about hopping everywhere with Shadow Step and killing people with Twisting Blades. Then we're going to hop down, skip Subterfuge, heading over to Imbuements and maxing out Shadow Imbuement, Enhanced Shadow Imbuement, and then Mixed Shadow Imbuement. It's going to give us some AoE for burst explosions if you want that. However, if you want more single target damage, I would definitely recommend Poison Imbuement. However, Shadow Imbuement is going to be a little bit more easy to just blow up waves if you guys are not quite as proficient with Twisting Blades. So I think this is a better beginner choice. Then we come down to Shadow Clone as our ultimate. This is going to mimic all of our actions. So again, we pop it when the boss pops up and we get basically 60% more damage. That's basically what it means. And that's going to be pretty simplistic, but very fun, very mobile build, and definitely something you're going to want to check out. Next up is the Sorcerer, and this is commonly regarded as one of the easier classes. I will say for the initial levels, You don't have to put much thought into it because you have a lot of AoE. But to be honest, all the builds end up sort of in similar power level, at least the previous three. We still have to do some more in-depth testing with the Druid and Necromancer. But diving into the Sorcerer here, we're going to go with Arc Lash as our basic. Now, I did try some Fireball, and I do think the damage is quite nice, but in terms of just AoEing through the game and not really thinking, Arc Lash is the way to go, you know, unfortunately. And so you're going to go with Enhanced Arc Lash, Flickering Arc Lash to give you extra movement speed. Max this out, guys. Really max this out. This is really, really important to max out. Of course, don't max it out before you unlock the Chain Lightning, but if you ever need some extra skill points before you get to the next place, make sure you put it in Chain Lightning and Arc Lash because these are really heavy hitting skills. We're gonna go with Chain Lightning, Enhanced Chain Lightning, and Greater Chain Lightning. Now this makes it so that when it bounces off of you, it does more damage. So make sure that you're in the fight and actually having that Chain Lightning bounce off of you, because it's gonna do massive amounts of damage. Now I do like picking up 2 points in Glass Cannon because I find that a lot of abilities on here aren't as good. So 12% extra damage, just for the really good abilities, pretty great. And on top of that, I like Ice Armor. This is going to basically just give you a little bit of extra health and essentially to survive. So it's really, really cool. Then we have Hydra. Max this out, guys, with Enhanced Hydra and Summoned Hydra. This is just a ton of passive damage. You're going to place this basically every fight that you have. I like to put 1 point into Firewall. Placing Firewall is actually pretty massive, because you can just place it on top of a boss and then they'll just sit there, right? As long as you're able to kite them into it. So big damage there. And then some people say don't take the ultimate for Wizard or Sorcerer here. Definitely take an ultimate, guys. Even if, you know, you don't find that it's like incredibly powerful, it's still better than almost all the abilities that you potentially can take for boss fights. You pop this. I like Unstable Currents. It's going to basically cast random shock skills, which is really, really nice. Honestly, Inferno though, and even Deep Freeze can be good, although I say Deep Freeze is a lot less good because you basically have to channel, which is really unfortunate. But Inferno and Unstable Currents are the ones I would go for. Very powerful build, lots of AoE, and the early game will be a little bit of a breeze, but you know, the other classes will catch up. So this next build is going to be one of the two newer classes, and that is Necromancer. We have a bone-based build with Bone Splinters and Enhanced Bone Splinters as our basic skill. This is going to do some decent damage. We also have Bone Spear. This is going to be able to pierce enemies, so you can line them up and pierce through them all. Very, very strong. Then we're also going to take Enhanced Bone Spear and Paranormal Bone Spear, which is going to give you extra crit chance. Then we're also going to pick up 2 passives here. Max out on Living Energy, and then go ahead and put 1 point into Imperfectly Balanced. It's going to give us more damage for our core skill, Bone Spear, but also give us more maximum essence for a later skill in the tree. We also have 1 point into Blood Mist. This is going to give us a lot of ability to basically just not die and also really recover a bit of life, which is pretty useful. We also have Bone Prison with Enhanced Bone Prison and Ghastly Bone Prison. This is the really, really important part because it's gonna make all enemies inside Bone Prison vulnerable. So this makes a massive damage increase, basically a 20% damage increase when this is out. Huge. Skip Corruption here, head down to Summoning, and this is where it gets really exciting because we have Bone Spirit. This is going to be our main damaging ability, to be fair, main burst damage. It's going to consume all of our essence to conjure a Spirit of Bone that seeks enemies, and it's going to do more damage for each essence spirit or essence spent casting. So what you're going to want to do is use that basic a lot, and then cast your Bone Spirit, and then recharge that essence, and then while this is on cooldown, then you cast Bone Spear. But guess what? This dreadful Bone Spirit with this upgrade, you're actually going to generate some essence over the next 4 seconds, so you can cast some more Bone Spears there. Really, really solid. Then we have the ultimate here, Bone Storm. It's going to create a swirling storm of bones, just dealing damage and doing a ton of AoE damage. Realistically, over time, Prime Bone Storm, getting a little bit of extra damage reduction. Again, these mage type classes, Necromancer's a lot less squishy than the Sorcerer, but they're still decently squishy compared to people that are building a little bit more tanky. So definitely want some extra damage reduction there. But very interesting, and Bone Spirit's going to be your big heavy hitter and something that's going to be super fun to use with a lot of essence. And lastly, we have the Druid. This is arguably the one I'm most excited for because of how unique the kind of combos that we have here. We're going to be running a earth-based stun Druid build that gives massive bonuses when we're stunning. So we're going to be running Earth Spike. This is really important. It's going to impale enemies, but also if we get this enhanced Earth Spike, we have a chance to stun, and then we have Fierce Earth Spike, which is actually going to fortify us for our base life whenever someone is stunned, or whenever we damage someone who is stunned, immobilized, or knocked back from Earth Spike. We have a lot of that, so we have a lot of combos here. Then we're going to be running Landslide, and this is the main combo with all the stunning and CC. If we pick up Enhanced Landslide and then also Primal Landslide, whenever we immobilize or stun an enemy, we're going to get a buff. This buff basically gets consumed whenever you hit someone with Landslide, which is going to cause a guaranteed critical strike with extra critical strike damage. Bosses always have a chance to get hit with this. Very, very impressive damage when it comes to, you know, getting that guaranteed crit. So clearing through trash is going to be super fun because you'll be able to stun, clear an elite with a couple double crits or whatever with Landslide. Super important. We're going to be running Earthen Bulwark, giving us a little bit of shielding, and then Enhanced Earthen Bulwark to give us Unstoppable when we cast it, so we can basically break stuns. And then we're going to run an Innate Earthen Bulwark, which basically does AoE damage, increased by barrier bonuses, so pretty big AoE damage while also being a defensive ability. And then I am 100% on board with Wolves, guys. This basically summons wolves to do damage. It's kind of similar to the Hydra, but not nearly as powerful. We're also going to get enhanced wolves, which are going to do more damage against those CC enemies, and then brutal wolf pack, which is going to give extra attack speed when I critically strike, which guess what? We're going to be constantly with Landslide, so a lot of combos going on here. This is a very, very powerful combo oriented build. Then we're running 1 point into Boulder, and then also an enhanced Boulder, stunning, and if it's overpowered, we're going to be stunned instead of slowing enemies. And then whenever we have Fortify, it's going to have increased crit strike chance, which we're going to have Fortify because we're going to be hitting stunned enemies with our basic, so we're always going to be critting with Boulder. And then lastly, we're going to be running the stunning ultimate Petrify, encasing all enemies in stone, giving extra increased crit chance, right? Really impressive. And then also extending that time, and then getting Supreme Petrify. When we kill an enemy affected by Petrify, it grants 25 spirit, which is super nice. Again, we're going to be stunning them for 4 seconds. So the reason why Supreme Petrify is so good is because if we go ahead and use this ultimate on a group, and then we just start spamming out Primal Landslides, right? It costs 30 spirit, and we get, if we look, 25 back. So if we're just spamming out these guaranteed crits, smacking because they're stunned, it is just going to absolutely decimate everyone. Such a good combo, really interesting, really fun, and a lot of combo potential with the Druid. So that's gonna wrap it up, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Now again, I'm curious to see what you guys, or what your experience is in the beta so far. When this video drops, you know, the beta will be coming out in a couple of hours, so be sure to stop by the stream if you guys are interested. On top of that, let me know if there's any other cool combos that you guys might have been figuring out. I personally will be jumping onto the Necromancer when I'm going to be starting out the beta here in a little bit, because I've played all the other 3 classes. So I'm going to be jumping onto the Necromancer, and then onto the Druid, and then back onto the Rogue, because the Rogue is the one I got the least playtime with in the previous week. So let me know what you guys are doing, what class you want to play, and which build you want to go for. Thanks for watching. Sub to the channel if you guys want more Diablo 4 content, and I will see you all in a video tomorrow.